And there's this dish that my nanny was making. It's like a noodle dish. And I suddenly hear a gunshot at my house. And as a kid, it sounds like an explosion in your house, right? And I look at my brother, and we make eye contact, and he's like, "What's that?" And my nanny runs over, and she grabs me, and she goes, go outside. And I start, I'm scared. So I start walking outside, and as I turn the corner, I hear a second gunshot. And what I see is my dad's holding a gun, and my mom is, she's backed up against the bumper for one of our cars. And he missed. He missed both times.
We love the San Gabriel Valley. There are some amazing people and businesses here, and we think they deserve the spotlight. Welcome to the SGV Master Key Podcast. We'll have on the people that make the SGV great. We'll find out what makes them tick, their ups and downs, their history, and we're going to have fun doing it. This is the SGV Master Key Podcast. And now your hosts, Scott Warmoth and Russell Mano.
All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the SGV Master Key Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We're excited to bring you another new guest from right here in the San Gabriel Valley. If you are new here, we tell you the stories of the people that make up our great community here. And if you're a returning listener, thank you for tuning in. Sit back, relax, get ready for another story from someone right here, one of our very own. Well, we're going to go into our pregame now. Scott, I don't know if people enjoy this or they're like, just get to the guest, but whatever.
Yeah, shut up.
But, this is what we do, right? This is what we do. So we were talking before, and what is the link? What is the connection to this guest? And one of the things that came up was, being a father, which you and I are, and what that means for our kids, and what are we doing, in terms of legacy or just memories.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially I think now as I get older, you think back okay, you knew your grandparents when you were kids, but actually at this age when they're gone, you don't really know anything about your history, about like what your family did. It's like you don't even remember who some of the relatives were. So, it's really difficult. It really would be nice to have some way of really documenting family history.
Yes.
Other than orally, because, that oral tradition, it can change from generation to generation. But somehow if you could really know your family.
Sure. I asked my friend, Michael Lund, who we do the other podcast with, what keeps him coming back? And he says, it's a chance for his kids to know who he is and what he does, for them to know Daddy. And I was like, wow, that's his motivation. And I don't know how much my children will learn about me if they ever watch this, I don't know, or listen to it, I don't know. But one of the selling points that I share with a potential guest, if they're sort of on the fence, or I just share with them, is that it's not often that they get to share with everybody, not just, friends or customers if they have a business, who they are, but even their own family, even their own kids. They don't have the time or opportunity really to say, this is what my life journey has been. And so this is an opportunity for them to do that.
Yeah, because I think, my father died, 15 years ago, and I learned a lot more about him after he died, but I could never go talk to him about it,
Wow.
And it's a real shame. And yeah, right. Here is a good chance to talk about yourself and share it with your kids or others important to you.
Speaking of fathers dying, aside from my wife, you're the next person that I informed, and I think within an hour we were hiking this hike here, right?
Mm-hmm.
God, I forgot about that. I mean, that's the first memory that I have of when my father died, and this was in 2020. But so I'm sharing that with the listener because like our friendship is real. Hopefully they hear that in the show. But anyway, I don't want to take the show on a different turn. Other than where it was going, talking about, kids and memories and whatnot. But, so we want to bring you a guest who has, many different titles, and you can find out all about them in this show. But before then, you can find out more about things in the San Gabriel Valley. Check out San Gabriel Valley Now, your source for city news, announcements, events, special savings, and everything SGV. Check them out. Carlos Puente does a great job with their magazine. We are in that edition. We'll be in the next edition. You can also check out their magazine on their website, sgvnow.com. Thank you, Carlos, for putting us in there, and we appreciate it. Okay, so our guest, we asked him what his title was, and I love that he said, the how he identifies most is husband and father. So his name is Eric Chang. He's an author, business owner. He owns Reason Fitness, and he's also podcaster of several podcasters. So anyway, there's a lot of titles there. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Father, husband, son. Oh, I'm sorry, I left out son.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So why are those first two titles so meaningful for you?
Why are those so meaningful? I mean, it's like when I think of like my core identity and responsibility in this season of my life, I couldn't think of two more important things, than what I have to wake up every morning and show up in who I have to be.
So a husband and a father first.
Yeah.
Oh, those are tough.
Definitely husband first. So I think that's I'm a child of divorce, right? And there's a whole story behind, like, I'm 35 years old and like reconnecting with my father for the first time in my life. And I think, first of all, like I'm sure we can all agree marriage is very difficult. Marriage is very challenging. And I did not see us going down this direction.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree that like marriage is I always say this to my wife is if we stay married until we both pass, it'll be the most successful thing that we've ever done in our lives, because it'll be the longest tenured thing that you've ever done. And that's a really long time, right? And I'm married to my high school sweetheart, but I've known her since we were 12. We met in the SGV, and we met at First Avenue Middle School and started dating our senior year at Arcadia. And, we went off to college and different stuff. And I even tell my kids this today, like, and they don't like it because they don't get it, but I'm like, hey, listen, I love you guys so much. Like, I have 3 kids, and I always tell them I love your mom most and I love her first. And so
wow, that's pretty meaningful. I mean, because that is a very critical decision people make. I mean, you've got a spouse and you have children.
Yeah.
Some people would go to the children first.
And I think that happens when you have small children. Like, it's a lot, right? So it's really natural. And I think as young parents, I think it's really natural for you to gravitate towards this identity of like everything's about the kids, right? And then I think that's why, I've had friends that they went to college and then their parents get divorced, right? You hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Or I've had another friend where he was like almost 30 and his parents decided to get, and they're like, oh, we finally felt you were ready. It's like, dude, I'm almost 30, mom. Like, but you hear that and it's like, a lot of it's like they're really holding on for their kids and
right.
They forget to have a relationship.
Yeah, it's a delayed divorce, but
yeah.
One that probably should never have been put off.
Yeah.
Well, you said you're a child of divorce.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been painful.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it was painful, but it was also, I have a term like, you guys know what like Asian divorce is?
Never heard that.
Never heard Asian divorce. It's when so a lot of like first generation immigrant families have this where they come over from overseas, they get married, and then there's, first of all, like young and married is hard, right? And you're trying to figure out career, how to survive, all the Maslow's hierarchy of needs stuff, right? Just shelter, food, and like what are you gonna do with your life? And then you have kids, and I think as life gets harder and harder, there's this element of like being first generation immigrants, like trying to find identity that is outside of being an immigrant, right? But especially in the 80s and 90s, it's so obvious that you are of color, and so that's one component. Is like, so well, you'll never be fully American, right? And in their eyes, and then so there's like societal acceptance that maybe is lacking, and then they're going through all these struggles of marriage and tying in that identity. So it's like kind of easier to just hold on to what is as you're having marital issues. Right, so it's like there's all these factors that go. So it's basically it's just like, well, let's just hold on, but like almost not be married, but hold on to your marriage because it's too much to fracture one more thing.
And that's an Asian divorce.
I just kind of see that a lot with my friends. So it's like your parents are like, by the time that my parents got married, I was like, thank God. Like, thank God you got married. Like, I'm sorry, by the time they got divorced, I was like, thank God you got divorced.
Well, let's set the stage a little bit here since you're going into quite a bit of personal things. So where were you born?
I was born in Whittier, California.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but your parents, were they immigrants?
My parents were first generation immigrants from Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long had they lived here prior to your birth?
5. So my mom immigrated from Taiwan post-college, post-undergraduate.
Okay.
And then my dad actually immigrated here. So my dad was like a latchkey kid, but also like one of those kids where his parents thought the best thing that they could do for him was send him away for school, for good school. So my dad, like, although growing up, born and raised in Taiwan, was sent to Hong Kong, to Canada, and then eventually he landed in Seattle.
Okay.
And he went to the school called Seattle Prep.
I know Prep.
Oh, you
they
know
were
Prep?
Our biggest rival.
Okay, cool.
I went to, it's a Catholic.
It is a Catholic school.
When I was going to school, it was an all-boys school. I don't know if
it was an all-boys school that he went to, yeah.
It was. Mm-hmm. And then, what year did he graduate?
Oh, he's in his mid-60s, so...
Probably in 75?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So he was a contemporary of mine.
Yeah.
I went to a school called Blanchette High School, which was also a Catholic school, and Prep was a Jesuit Catholic school, all boys, and they were our big rivals.
Yeah.
Our main rivals.
Oh, wow,
sports.
very cool. What are the chances? So you're from Seattle?
Yeah, I grew up in Seattle.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to visit in July. So this is, I mean, I don't know if it's in line of the story, but like, so as I've been kind of reconciling my relationship with my father, I'm actually taking him on a trip to Seattle in about 4 weeks.
Really?
To understand his upbringing.
Wow. So where did he grow up in Seattle? Do you know?
He was in the boarding school, so he lived at school.
Oh, okay.
So he lived at school, and then he had an older brother that was attending UW. And his older
University of Washington.
Yeah, so his brother had like legal guardianship over him.
Okay.
His brother's 8 years older. So it was a combination of living at school and then also with his older brother.
Okay.
But my dad like functionally raised himself.
Okay. So he lived on Capitol Hill, which is where Prep is. And
okay.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah. All right, so he then eventually moved down to Whittier.
Yeah, so he went to Seattle Prep, then Seattle University.
Okay.
Like it's like a feeder school, right?
Yeah.
So it feeds into that. He's got a cool story. He's like the Seattle version of Bruce Lee. So
Bruce Lee was a Seattle.
He was?
He's buried in Seattle.
Well, then there you go. Okay. So I don't know.
So he was not the Seattle version.
Oh, he was a Bruce Lee Jr. Then he did the whole like teach karate to like.
Oh, really?
To like, yeah.
Guido.
Yeah. So what a story. Okay.
When did he leave Seattle? Do you know?
You know what? I hope to find out in a month.
Okay. Okay. So you were pretty. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sort of jumping the.
Yeah. So I actually don't know, but I hope I find out in a month. I'm trying to get to know him a little better.
Now, where does your father live now?
He lives in South Pasadena. Yeah. So he's local now. Yeah.
Okay. And you were not part of his life?
Yeah. So long story short, my parents immigrate. He came down here, I think, because family was around here. Like his family was eventually immigrated here too. I'll find out more about that next month too. But he and my mom met, I believe, in Monterey Park. Okay. I probably need to be corrected on that at some point. But as far as I know, they met in Monterey Park. Mm-hmm. And they had
as good a guess as any.
They had a fast relationship. My mom was like a typical like FOB, like fresh off the boat, was here working for her sister, like in the garment industry. And, you know, everyone's just kind of like family just sticks with family, you know, like when you're an immigrant like that. And my dad came in to try to sell her a copier. He was working for like a fax copier machine company. And he's just a very persuasive sales guy. And, you know, and being a charming guy, he's like, I can just like cold ask my mom out. And then they really quickly got pretty serious, I guess, and then had me. Don't know the whole timeline of that story, but yeah, I think they met in Monterey Park, and they actually used to work together in Monterey Park somewhere.
So did you have much interaction with your father growing up?
You know what I did? So it's interesting because I think when you like go through trauma as a child, like you block off like the bad parts, right? Like you just can't remember. And I think what I can remember is like a few good years, and then like the hard years where they were like functionally should have got a divorce, but they were not legally divorced. I can't remember a whole lot of it. Yeah. And then I can remember like my teenage years and on when they actually got divorced. But I mean, for the most part, like I had a pretty typical childhood. Like my parents were very typical first generation immigrants. They were fighting to find their place here, fighting to survive. So I was born in Whittier, but I was raised in Rowland Heights, and then we moved to Arcadia because Arcadia was kind of like up and coming in the early 90s. It was like a very up and coming city. Where like everybody wants their kids to go to school. The home values were nowhere near what they are today. And my parents found a nice 3-bedroom home in Arcadia, and really it was about the schools. They came for the schools. But I think for multiple reasons, maybe I think we were house poor. We couldn't afford to be in the neighborhood. It caused a lot of financial stress. It was just hard to hang. And I think that began the attrition of their relationship, Yeah.
You described it as you had a few good years, and then you said difficult years before they decided to divorce. You were, adolescent at that time. What did you observe, or what was your experience? Like, how did you know? Because as a child, you don't know what's good and what's bad.
Yeah, we growing up. Some of my fondest memories are going to the Santa Anita Mall, and I remember like we didn't eat out a whole lot. We mostly ate at home because you save money that way. But we would go out, and this is back when I think they had was it the General Cinema inside of the mall? You guys remember?
I remember.
It was like a really small theater, like
I know they have
5 to 7 screens maybe.
I don't remember.
Okay. They have larger complex now, right?
Yeah, it's huge. The AMC is huge.
We're talking. Okay, so it was before AMC.
Yeah, this is.
This is when the food court was upstairs, and there was Orange Julius.
Correct.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So it was Orange Julius
and
on the
Dairy
left.
Queen.
Yep, Dairy Queen and Orange Julius on the left side, and then there's like the Chinese food, and then like the Sparrow, which is still in the mall now. But yeah. So it's all anyway. So during that time, I remember we would go out it was either Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. It was like one of the weekend days. We'd go out for like a lunch, and like it was just kind of like you can get whatever you want. And I just remember like fond memories of like I'd always get a Sparrow pizza from Sparrow, pick off all my pepperonis and eat them with my crust, and then get like a lemonade from the Muscle Beach lemonade spot. And I just remember being like really happy, and just like life was it was like really simple. Like I would always look forward to that. We'd do that every weekend. We'd go to the mall. We never buy anything at the mall. You just there to like look and enjoy a lunch at the food court. And my brother would always get the Chinese food with my mom. And then my dad has a really bad diet, but he would have like 2 lunches. He'd always have like whatever he was gonna eat. He'd always have like one of those great potatoes after, with like a mound of butter, And like I don't know. So like some of those fond memories, like of just eating whatever you want, having a good, like just enjoying, family time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier in the show, you started off with, you love your wife first and the goal of being together. I'm always talking to Scott about like vision and knowing where you want to go. And so for me, success in life is, me with my wife together, happy, healthy, and huge family around us.
Yeah.
Right. That's not to say that we set out to have lots of kids and we want our kids to have a lot of kids, but just that, we've broken generational curses and our lineage going down is all healthy. And that to me is success. But one of the other goals is for us to model the best relationship for our kids to see.
Yeah.
That they see that and they're like, that's how it's supposed to be. Right. And then because then they know what the bad stuff is.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't look at the bad and say, that's how it's supposed to be, because then,
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry. So I just wanted to share that with you.
That's good. I love that.
So I always preface everything with, don't do as I do, do as I say.
with your kids?
No, I'm
Oh, no.
joking.
Well,
Yeah.
so you're observing. You said you have a brother. Is it one brother?
I have younger brother.
A younger brother.
Yeah.
So you're observing that things are not well in their life, and you're sort of just enduring it, and then your parents get divorced. How was that on you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I actually talk about it in the book, but there's this inflection point. And so long story short, they're going through their tough seasons, and, they're working really, really hard. Like they're building a real estate business together. And
They're working together still.
They work together too.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just really, and so that adds even like another layer, right? So it's like, if they break up, like who gets the business? One of them has to leave, or do you keep working together? But it's weird, it's like, and I have friends that their parents are still doing that, and their parents are in their 70s, right? And I'm like,
Wow.
but they like don't love each other, right? And it's just complicated. So it came to an inflection point where I didn't see it then. Now as an adult with my own responsibilities, with my own family, I could see how stressed out they were. Like how it's like, it was a really hard season. And my dad wasn't handling it well. He was drinking a lot. And dude, I've only ever shared this story twice on the podcast, but it's in the book, so it's public info. But it's like on a weekend one day, and my brother and I are at home sitting, waiting around for dinner. We're just like, it's like you're hanging out, and dinner's being made. I could smell the soup that's being cooked, and there's this dish that my nanny was making. It's like a noodle dish with like pickled vegetables and like ground pork, and I suddenly hear a gunshot at my house. And as a kid, it sounds like an explosion in your house, right? And I look at my brother, and we make eye contact, and he's like, "What's that?" And my nanny runs over, and she grabs me, and she goes, go outside. And I start, I'm scared. So I start walking outside, and she has a view of what, she's tall enough, she can see everything. But she has a view, and as I turn the corner, I hear a second gunshot. And what I see is my dad's holding a gun, and my mom is, she's backed up against the bumper for one of our cars. And he missed both times.
Wow.
And, when I go back to that scene, it's almost like everything that you think about your father is like, you're not sure anymore.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? And I think things got really clear from that point on. So I think there's a lot of like back and forth of like whether they should stay in a relationship. But I think that was the inflection point of my mom was finally like, this is not good for anybody for us to be together.
Did that moment, was it shattering for you? Everything that you had? Everything you knew?
So in hindsight, yes. But as I was going through it as a kid, I thought to myself, I think right away, I thought, you're not safe. I'm not okay with you. We are not okay. And I don't like you. And so as they were going through their divorce, it was, you never want your kids to pick sides, I think, when you're going through a divorce, right? But it was very easy for me to pick a side.
Yeah, of course.
The side was not with him. So.
How old were you?
I think I was in like 5th grade. So 10 maybe. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that like the most clear moment in your life as far as a memory?
No, thankfully. But it's one that I think it's crazy because I actually buried it. I buried it for years because it was so painful to think about. And what's crazy is, as growing up as a teenager, I could never understand like why I hated my dad so much. Like I hated him. Much of like who I've become as a result over the next few years, so ironically, like I started like hitting weights. Like I started lifting weights. Like no one taught me how to lift weights. I just wanted to lift weights. But I think it was like my knee-jerk reaction was like, I got to be strong. I got to protect. I got to be a protector. And as soon as they got divorced, like everything about my life became responsibility. It was like I basically became a surrogate husband to my mom. I was the firstborn, so it's like I took my brother everywhere. I was responsible for functionally raising him, and but at the same time, like I wasn't ready. I'm still a boy.
How did that change your personality?
I think that's the tough one. Is like I think to this day, I don't know. I would love to process with my dad like a month from now, but I talk to my mom a lot, and I think I don't remember a life before that like the memory I just shared about going to the mall, that's like the only one. And I just don't remember what I was like before that. I only know me as that kid on, you know, and that kid was just a very responsible kid that just, you know.
Not bitter, not angry.
Oh, absolutely angry. Very angry. Anger was the only emotion I knew how to feel for nearly 2 decades of my life.
Were you withdrawn?
I think in moments I was, but
Did you come across as angry?
You'd have to ask my peers.
What was it like in high school? Were you an angry kid?
Yeah, that's good. Great question. I have to look back and say in high school, I actually did not enjoy high school, but I think it's so the only thing I had growing up was sports. I know Russell and I talked about it a little bit, but so through that entire time, I played basketball growing up, and I was pretty good. I was like pretty good for my age. I played like a couple years up growing up most of the time, but I was a very angry player. So like I much so identified with like learning how to play angry and using all of my energy in sports. It was like an outlet for me, and you know I was definitely the kid where like you know refs make bad calls all the time. Like I've been a ref, right? It's like reffing is very difficult. It's hard to see all the angles, especially when there's only 2 refs, basketball refs on a court, right? You can't see all the angles, but like I would get like a wrong call on me, and I would think like it was personal. I was like, dude, you don't like me. Why'd you call it like that? You know, so yeah, I was a very angry kid.
But I'm curious because your presentation now is not of an angry person. It's either suppressed or you're over it.
I think I've had a lot of healing, but I think I've taken a lot of like my natural drive is like to this day, like I'm still a person that like does not like injustice. So like
you will get your back up if you see something that is not right.
I just feel, like I will feel the need to fix something, but like I care about what I care about. And I would say like, do I still feel angry? Yeah, sure. But it's not the only emotion that I can access anymore. Whereas before it was the only one I knew.
And you said almost 2 decades, which would bring you to close to 30.
Yeah.
And how long have you been married?
10 years.
Yeah. So it was during your marriage you've had to work through.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And this is a woman that knew you at that time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
when you were 10, she knew you.
When we were 12, we were like in the same friend group. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a lot of things right now because, you know, I had a similar path, and I was going to ask you earlier what you did with all that anger. And, you know, the listener can't see, but I can see, you know, your physique is quite impressive. And
yeah, I'm not going to get him angry. Okay.
You know, but at 14, I channeled a lot of that anger into weights because it's actually what I saw in movies.
Yep.
You know?
Is that a common response? Is there something about being strong and a man, right?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I shared on this show before, what I saw in movies was if you physically disciplined yourself, in the end, you would win. You would overcome.
Yeah.
That was the message I got. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do.
That's Rocky.
Oh, that's
Rocky,
good.
that's, you know, Bloodsport. That's
John-Claude Van Damme. Yeah.
It's all those movies.
Arnold, yeah.
You know, and I could have gone a much different direction. But I just shared with Scott the other day, like some people have come in, they're like, Russell, you're so peaceful. You know, there's this calm about you.
Yeah.
And I shared with Scott, I said, no one will know the depths of what it took to get like this, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I imagine with you, it's
Very similar.
quite similar.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling this moment now because I'm very, you know, it resonates with me, that journey. But I'm sorry. So you had to take on a lot of responsibility right away.
Yeah.
Raising your younger brother, your mom, and what were those 2 decades like?
It's tough to say because like it's not like my dad was completely absent. Like I would see him on Christmas or like holidays and stuff like that. But he also started working overseas, so it actually made it easier. And in hindsight, like, and this is crazy because I literally am about to talk. Like I'm gonna spill like next month. I've never had time like this with my father. So like we're gonna have 3 days together, and like I just want to like ask him everything. Like just, you know, like
how did this come about?
This whole trip?
Yeah. This is the first time.
Yeah.
What's the genesis of that?
So let me rewind. Okay. Okay. So I'm 28, 7 years. Yeah, I'm about 28. And my wife and I get pregnant for the first time. We miscarry. Okay. And a year later, no, sorry, I'm 27. We get pregnant again with my daughter. And I'm at this Father's Day gathering. No, sorry, not Father's Day gathering. I'm at a church group. So I'm at a church group. It's called Life Group, and we meet at like someone's house. Mind you, this is like a new group for me, so I'm like not that comfortable with everybody. But like they separate by gender. So, you know, the women are in one group, the guys are in the other group, and all the guys, you know, like they do like questions, like, hey, like let's all answer this question, and there's an icebreaker, right? Hey, what did you guys do for Father's Day? And all the guys go around, and there's one guy, his name is Ryan, and he starts to share this story about what he did with his family, and I'm about to cry, but he shares that all the men gather and they share what they appreciate about the last generation of men in their families, and I'm sitting there and I'm like just kind of like salty. I'm just kind of mad, like like you know, it's like I literally like imprinted on his story. I could not, like everybody else that shared, I don't remember. I only heard his story, and it got to me. I didn't even realize it got to me. It was like my turn, and I'm just like I like it's my turn to share, and I say, Ryan, like, dude, I can't stop thinking about what you said. I just don't have that. I just don't have that, man. I wish I had that. And I looked at him and I said, man, I feel like I should call my dad right now and just tell him that I love him. Like right now, like in this moment. And they're all like, what? Like, you know, there's a bunch of guys like, what? Dude, you should do it, man. You should do it. And I sat there and I'm like, nah. If this is real, if this is really here, I can still do it tomorrow morning. It's like such a dude, right? I was like, if it's real, I'll do it tomorrow morning. So I leave, and then the next morning I'm driving to work. I'm driving to the gym, and call my dad and I say, hey dad, I know we've been through a lot, and I know we don't have a great relationship, but you're gonna be a grandfather, and I want you to be part of her life. I want you to have a relationship with her, and I don't want anything from you. There's no strings attached. I just want to be in your life. And my dad starts sobbing on the phone. I could hear it. I hear it in his voice. The cracking of his voice. And I say, hey, Dad, I love you, man. I gotta get to work. And that began this like the seed that was planted like in 2015, 2016 of healing that I began to experience. Yeah.
That's what an incredibly brave thing for you to do. I mean, how difficult was it?
You know what? It wasn't. So I'm a Christian, right? And I do believe in God, and I don't think that was me. Like I don't think I had that strength on my own. Like that was some supernatural stuff, I feel like, because up until then I was so angry. I was so mad.
And that was the first time, that night before, that was the first time somebody had made that impression on you about family and father?
Yeah. Yeah.
And somehow that moment, it all hit you, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I was so jealous. I was so like envious, and I like literally coveted that, Mm-hmm. And yeah. And it's crazy because even as I reached out, it was like kind of, I said all those things, but it's like, it doesn't change anything. Like, it's like,
do you think
I'm not best friends with my dad now,
Do you think your father ever tried to reach out to you?
100%.
He did.
Oh, in hindsight.
And you rejected him?
Yes. I was so mad.
Was it a regular occurrence that he would try to reach out, or did he do it once or twice and then give up, or how did that go?
I have this other memory of my dad. Like one of the few times post-divorce or like during or whatever that, when they have custody. So basically, long story short, I in my mind, nobody had custody over me. like I kind of it's kind of sad, but I saw my parents. It's kind of like, well, you guys are my parents, but like neither of you guys have custody over me. Like nobody gets to tell me what to do. Like you guys suck, basically, right? But I remember there was one time my dad was like taking me and my brother or something like that to get some rollerblades, because like rollerblades are really cool in the '90s at Big Five, off of Colorado. Which funny, I actually ended up working there in between college. But I remember going there, and it's funny because like as a father myself now, I want to give my kids things, and I think my dad didn't have time to give us because he's always working, and he didn't really have a great relationship with us, but he tried to like buy us things, whenever he could. And he went to go get my brother some like inline skates, right? And they didn't have my size, and I was pretty bummed, I remember driving away in the parking lot, and my dad just starts cussing me out. You're like, I don't know if you can cuss on this show, but like, you ungrateful, like this, and I'm sitting there, I'm like frozen, like, dude, I just wanted some rollerblades, man. And I think back on it now, like my dad just wanted to get me some rollerblades so bad. Like he just wanted to like impress his son. He wanted to like maybe try to make things right. And was I being ungrateful? Maybe a little bit. Like I was bummed. I couldn't get my rollerblades, but the failure that he must have felt in that moment, like I couldn't get my son the thing again, and then he just lashes out at me,
Yeah, and now
Dude.
you're a parent. You
Yeah.
feel though that it's not always easy, is it?
Oh no, so hard
as a parent or a
So
child,
hard, yeah.
right?
So hard, yeah.
And he may have been trying so hard, but anyway, now you were the one who reached out this most recently, right, to set up this trip. Or?
Yeah, so a lot has changed over the years. Even when I started my own business, my gym, my dad kind of watched from afar, and like he would never, he's a business owner, but he would never give me business advice. Like it's almost like he knew like it wasn't his place to try to teach me anything, and because I certainly wasn't going to receive it, But over the years, as I opened up and like, I'll even ask him for advice. Like, what do you think about this? Or, and oh my gosh, I'm so emotional today. We met up for like some hot pot, maybe a year or two ago, and he just told me he's like really proud of me. Like, I'm really proud of you. You kind of figured things out. And I'm like, I don't know that I figured anything out, but I am quite happy. I'm quite happy with like what my life has come to so far, and like how I get to live and what's important to me, like the mission, the values that I get to live out, yeah, there's a little bit of a two-way street now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how long he's gonna live, which is one of the reasons why I'm trying to be more intentional about, only so many years left. I want him to know that like he doesn't have like a shattered legacy. I want him to know that like I see that he did his best and it wasn't perfect, that it's okay,
Well, there's a lot of forgiveness there for him. Yeah. Eric, as a father, as a son, and as a person who has pursued coaching for my life's goal or pursuit, really, can I share with you something about your experience that I just feel compelled to say?
I would love to hear it. Yeah.
Your response to him is okay. Your response is natural. I too would experience that, and if no one said that to you, I hope to be able to say that to you. There's nothing wrong with that response. I think many people would respond in the same way, and yeah, I hope you extend grace for yourself too. That in those moments where, if you felt you rejected his olive branch, that it's okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad I'm not on camera because I'm a mess, man.
I did not know we were going this direction today. Holy moly!
Nobody knew, right?
I thought we were talking about lifting some weights or something like that. Oh my goodness, man! Oh, wow.
Well, quite emotional.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
does he know how imposing you look? That when he comes, like when you're going to go spend this time with him, does he know how?
So I see. I mean,
You see
I
him
see him all the time.
regularly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've had It's not like he ghosted us, dusted us for years. It's just like we just were not close at all.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was around, but then like it's not like I haven't seen him in a decade or anything like that. Like, yeah, but
I see. Wow. Yeah. So, there's so much forgiveness that I see you have for him, and what a heart that must take. So much courage
Yeah,
to be able
right.
to extend that
Yeah.
in the face of what you obviously felt, endured, taking on for years, and to go out and to do what you did. Yeah. Wow. Incredible. And kudos to your wife, because I know, like, on a healing journey, she's must been there
dude.
with
Yeah,
you
dude.
in some
Yeah.
difficult times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife is she's dope. She's like a great wife, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, we ask each guest to bring something with them, an item of significance. And you had shared earlier that, you're not so tied to material objects so much that,
Yeah.
but you did bring something with you today. What did you bring?
I brought feels like a plug.
You can show it here.
But I brought my book. So,
Yeah. Awesome.
So this is a book you wrote when?
I started the journey of writing this book in 2021. Like I officially signed with a publishing house in 2021. But the contents of this book I've been writing for years, maybe for a decade. I'm a big time journaler, so I like to journal, and a lot of the concepts come from things that were very formative for me. But this was published in March of 2023. So just like
A few months ago.
a few months ago, and it was a work in progress for over 2 years.
What is the theme of the book?
So it's called "Don't Run from the Fight: The Freedom Framework for Men's Power and Purpose." It's funny because the whole men's thing is like a deliberation that I had with my publisher, like back and forth for a long time, like in regards to like marketability and being niche and stuff like that. And I am passionate about coaching men for sure, but a lot of women have read this book as well, and they were like, why were you so sexist when you wrote this book? And I was like, dude, it's not what you think it is. Okay. But yeah.
Now you're right under the name Eric Freedom.
Right under the name Eric Freedom. Yeah.
Okay. How did that name come?
Yeah. Great question. The only way I know how to answer that is that I am not the person that I was 3 years ago or 5 years ago. I want to believe that I'm like a grown version of that. And in 2017 through 2019, I started to attend this church. I didn't grow up in church, but my wife did, and there's a whole story there. But she is the one that got me to go to this church that we used to go to. This is Chinese Baptist church.
FCBC?
No,
Across from In-N-Out? Oh, okay.
No, Mandarin Baptist.
Yes.
Mandarin Baptist Church across from
Oh, yes, Mandarin Baptist.
Yeah, Mandarin
across from
Baptist.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you
it's
go
no
Chinese or the English side?
I went to the English side.
Is that pastor still there?
Pastor Ray.
Yes. He cries like every sermon, right?
He cries like every sermon. Great dude.
Yes.
Great
Okay.
dude. So you know him. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So so that's actually condos now.
Okay.
But so I wasn't like raised in the church or anything like that. None of my family's religious or anything. The only religion they believe in is money. But I started attending that church.
Can I see your book?
Yeah, I started attending that church with my wife. She actually invited me when I was going through a tough time my freshman year of high school, because I quit basketball, and when I quit basketball, I lost my identity. I did not know who I was anymore after I quit, and I had 1.0 GPA. I was lost. I had no interest in school. I got pulled into the guidance counselor's office, and they're literally like, "Are you okay?" And they're in hindsight, dude, they were asking me if I was suicidal. I did not realize that. Like now as an adult, I'm like, "Oh, you were trying to figure out if I was suicidal." I went through all I baked my head. I shaved my head with a razor. And I was just trying to figure out who I was. I didn't know who I was, and I started going to church. And long story short, we started attending church. I started attending church. We left that church after, it was really hard to leave because like it's like my first church I ever went to, and then I'm tying this into a question that you guys asked me earlier. 2017 through 2019, I was going to this new church called Epicenter Church, which I still go to now. It's in Pasadena. We used to meet at Mott inside William Carey University, which is like off north of Washington and Hill.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, there's a university there that no longer is there.
Oh,
They got sold to a private equity company or something like that. But they were there for many years. And long story short, I started attending this church, Epicenter, and they had like their first ever men's retreat. And one of my buddies was like, "Hey, I really think you should go." I was like, "Nah, I'm too busy. I don't have time to go to retreats and stuff like that. That's for people that have time to do stuff." And this is like, I think this was 2019. So I go, and I still remember this. And I'm sitting. It's like in this like community room. There's like some chairs there, like maybe like 80 men there. But I prop up on the pool table in the back, and I just work. I'm programming for my athletes. I'm like, oh, I'm busy, and like someone's like giving it like a message in the front. I'm sitting in the back. I'm like writing out workouts, and then one of my buddies comes up and he's like, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm just really busy." Like, and he's like, "Well, you should like try to like you're already here. Like you should try to engage, try to like be part of this." And I was like, "Yeah, I will later when I gotta work." And I was like keeping myself busy, because like I don't know anybody either. So part of it is I just felt like I didn't fit in. So I was like busybodying, And long story short, the weekend goes through and like nothing really hits me that weekend. Like nothing's really like big takeaways. And there's this guy, one of the organizers goes, "Hey, like I'd like you guys to think of like one word for the weekend." And they're kind of charismatic like that. I was like, "Yeah, you guys are really weird, but okay, I'll play the game." So I sit there and then nothing, and people going up and I suddenly feel just like the word freedom come to me. Like, man, like you've just really been trapped like for a long time and it's like, it's time to be free. So I went up there and I just shared the word freedom. And then for like, literally for like 2 years, for like a year or two, it meant nothing. Just like whatever. And then I used to go by like on social media and stuff, like all my handles are like Eric Reason Chang. Because my gym is called Reason Fitness. So I go Eric because it's a differentiator because I graduated high school with other Eric Changs, right? So like my name like always felt really insignificant, and I changed it to Eric Freedom. I was like, no, like this new season of my life is like about freedom and what that means. Like there's all this stuff to what it means, but and it ended up being the name that I published under. So like a lot of authors have like they're not real names as their. So I was like, oh, this will be mine, and freedom has just become this word that has just. I've been like living out in this next decade of my life.
Yeah,
that's the story behind Eric Freedom. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. Well, I was looking through the book, and it seems you must have had some help. I say that just because there's research and a lot of deep ideas. I mean, did you do it all yourself, or did you have somebody help you do research? Or?
Yeah. So I signed with Barry Powell Publishing. They're actually based out in Glendora. Very sweet lady. She's a best-selling author. She wrote this book called like Girlfriends, I think. She's awesome. Her name is Carmen. I would say that she's a better coach than a publisher right now. They're a very new publisher, and I think they want every publisher wants to get like all-star authors, right? But they did a great job in coaching me on like how to put together like my ideas, and we had many manuscripts, so they were very good. But as far as like doing the research, yeah, like it was a lot of work. That's why it took 2 years, and they were like a lot of back and forth and like rejecting. Yeah, so absolutely, we had a team that helped me with it, and it would not be what it is today without their help for sure. Did not do it alone.
Yeah.
Eric, you also mentioned something about a wristband as an item of significance. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So this is something I've been wearing. I'm a very, you can't see, but I'm a tattoo kind of guy. So like I like to express myself through art. I like wearing wristbands because I have kids and they love doing this to my stuff. So like just have different wristbands. But one that I've been wearing recently is this one. It's a plastic one, or I don't know what this material is, but it's 2-sided and it doesn't. It's actually we give these out to members of our gym. as like kind of like a mental fitness thing. But one side says the easiest part of your day, and the other side says brick by brick, brick by brick. So what it means is we want people to know that whatever you're building with us, that you need to understand it's going to be built brick by brick. That's not going to come easy. Whether it's building mental fortitude or building your body or losing some weight, or if you're seeking transformation, like know that you need to lay bricks every day and build it brick by brick. And then the second thing is, obviously it's opposite, it's ironic, but it's like if you, so we're like a CrossFit style gym. So we do like semi-private training, private coaching, nutrition, and then group fitness, right? And people have to show up. Like, I mean, you're a coach, right? So you know, like when there's the very big difference between working out for maintenance and working out and trying to make some type of change, right? Maintenance is like, it's maintenance. But when you're working out to create physiological change, like it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come easy. And when you are, so with that mindset, we kind of joke that like this is the easy, like just make this the easiest part of your day. Because if you can make this the easiest part of your day, life outside of these walls is just going to get a lot easier.
Yeah,
you know?
that's
so
awesome.
The whole idea of like, you kind of eat the frog type of thing, you know? So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, I want to get more into your journey into business. I know you own 2 gyms, right?
I own one gym.
Or you own one
yeah.
gym, I'm sorry.
We've had 2 locations. But
Oh, 2 locations.
We've moved, yeah.
Okay. I want to get into that journey and then sort of, catch up to where you are today. But let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
At Wormuth Law, they believe that just because you speak a foreign language, come from a different culture, or simply don't know how to navigate the legal system, that should not prevent you from compensation from injury or receiving benefits. Their multicultural staff have been helping SGVers like you for over 38 years. Visit law888.com or call them at 626-784-7017 and tell them you heard about them on this podcast.
All right, we're back with Eric. Eric, before the break, you were sharing about the message on your wristband there, which is pretty awesome. I love it. I love the message. So, fast forward, I love that we got to know this part of who you are. And it's really obvious to me, like this, how this creates a person. But share with the listener, where did the idea come to you to open a gym and how did all that happen?
If you told me 25 years ago, like, hey, you're going to be doing what you're doing, I would have never believed it, right? But when I zoom out and I 100K foot view my life, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. I feel like in every moment I wake up and I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing every day. And it's a really rich feeling. It's a really powerful feeling. It's very, very empowering. How did I get to open the gym?
Yeah, where did that idea come? I imagine you started the weights.
Yeah, so I started the weights because now I realize it's a protective mechanism. I just wanted to be strong, whatever that meant, Yeah. And I love what you shared earlier about how you kind of do what was modeled, and back then it was action movies and superheroes are just jacked, right? It's just okay, if I do that, I'll be okay. My life will be good. Right. Very, 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 very carnal. So yeah, I got into that. But the funny thing is, in high school, when I stopped playing sports, when I stopped playing basketball, I was playing basketball for 6 hours a day. So I went from playing 6 hours a day to nothing. I stopped playing basketball, but I was still eating I was
playing basketball 6 hours a day.
6 hours a day. So by the time I graduated high school, I went into high school my freshman year. I've been the same height since I was 11.
Which is?
I'm 5'8".
Okay.
So I was able to play up because I was a big guard growing up, right? But 5'8" in basketball is dude, you're small, man. I was at a conference last week and one of my buddies there, he's 6'4", and I was like, dude, put your arms up real quick. And he put his arms up and I was like, bro, there's no way I get a shot over you. I had to like create so much space to just get off a jumper, you know? So yeah, I'm by no means like, I was not created to play basketball professionally, you know? But I stopped playing, and so I went into high school. It was like maybe $150 or so. I graduated nearly 100 pounds heavier. So I graduated with 245.
Okay.
Same height. My joints weren't like inflamed. Like I looked inflamed. You know, I was not healthy. So then I went to, I went to Arcadia, which is a highly competitive high school. Like it is rigorous. And I graduated high school not thinking I was very intelligent. Like I was like, I didn't get good grades. And my wife went to UC Irvine along with 30% of our graduating class. Like 30% of our graduating class went to Arcadia, went to UC Irvine, which is ridiculous. And most people go to pretty good schools. And I was like, dude, I thought I failed in life. Like I'm fat and overweight, and I didn't get into college. Like, what am I going to do with myself? And I'm pretty sure my girlfriend is going to find someone really handsome in college, and she's going to break up with me. Like, freshman year, she's dorming. I was like, dude, I was like depressed. I was like, she's going to find someone like super handsome and athletic and gone into college, and it's not going to be me. What a downer, dude. What a downer. And so I go to PCC. Honestly, if I could recommend things like for the next generation, I think everyone should go to JUCO. I think junior college is great. So
but you went to a very good one too.
Is it?
Oh, Pasadena.
Sweet. Oh, I didn't. Yeah. I have no awareness because that's the only one I went. Well, I did go to Cerritos College, as well as Rio Hondo, just for one class.
But you know what? You're right. They are very good colleges throughout the whole state.
Yeah, like in general. So it wasn't so much that like I don't know whether it's great or not. Like my experience was positive, but I was trying to get out of there. So long story short, I went to junior college. I took 22 to 24 units per semester.
Whoa. Okay. Double full load.
I took like 22 to 24 units per semester while working 30 hours a week at Big Five Sporting Goods. And there's a twofold thing that happened there. Number one, I worked at Big Five, and one of my boys there, was, we got to know each other. He goes, "Oh, I go to PCC too." I was like, "Oh, sick, dude!" He goes, "Yeah, but I've been there for 7 years." And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, "Yeah, are you trying to transfer still or what?" He goes, "Maybe." And I looked at him and I saw my future. And I was like, "Yo, you're not even a manager here, bro. you're not even store manager. Like you're not even a shift manager. Like you're like me." And I was like, "Yo, I'm not about to be at Big Five wearing a suit to sell shoes that I don't get a commission on for the rest of my life." Right. So I was like, "Oh, I gotta get out of here." So then I worked really hard. And I finished all my G's or whatever I got an AS in 3 semesters. And I took a semester off and I worked for the athletic trainer at PCC, Rudy. What's up, Rudy? I don't know if he's still there. But and working under him as an intern changed my whole world. Like it was a setting where I got to see sports, and not being an athlete myself anymore, I got to be around athletes and I got to help them. So I felt like I was like part of the team. So I changed my major to athletic training. I wanted to I transferred out, and I was like set on becoming an athletic trainer. And I was like, you know what? I want to lose some weight too. I'm gonna get healthier. And so I transferred out to a school called Biola University. You guys know Biola, but I transferred them. My first semester there, they're like, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but we don't have that major anymore." And I was like, "Dude, I just gave you guys like $10,000. Okay, so they're we don't have that. If you want, you can finish a Kines degree here and then get your master's." Because back then in California, this is in the early 2000s, they only had athletic ATC programs were only available like in 4 schools in California. It was a master's program, or you go undergraduate. The only undergraduate program that existed was at California Baptist University for athletic training. So they're like, "Well, you can transfer." And I was like, "Dude, I can't. I'm not going to transfer. I'm going to lose so much money. Like, you don't get a refund." So I was like, "Okay, what are my choices?" So I was like, "I'm going to stay at least 1 year and just figure out." So I switched to kinesiology, exercise science and health promotion. And as I'm doing that, I find a I make friends, right? And my first year as a transfer, it's hard to make friends as a first year as a transfer. So I make like a group of friends, like 3 people. And one of them is really into CrossFit. But as a kines major, it was like this unspoken thing where like, dude, you're not supposed to do CrossFit. Like, dude, that's bad. It's like, that's bad science. And no research has been done on it yet. Too new, too grassroots. Don't do that. Dangerous. And no one should Olympic lift weights for more than 3 reps. It's like, and you should never lift weights that fast. And so being like someone that's really bought into kinesiology, I was like, yeah, dude, like you should listen to Dr. Abkarian. He knows what he's talking about. And it came to a point of contention with me, one of my best friends, one of my groomsmen. He was like, dude, you know what? Like, can you just try it? So he gets me to try it, and I just fall in love with it. And if I look back on my entire college experience, if I had not found that, like I went to that school, if I had not found that, I would not be where I'm at today. So fast forward, graduate, I come back. There's not a whole lot of gyms around here. I'm working at 24 Hour Fitness as a trainer throughout college. So just naturally the progression is I get a job. I already had a job. I was like, I'll just grow my clients here. And this is not a knock on 24 Hour Fitness, but it's quite dead end if you stay at a commercial gym, because you get like minimum wage, and it's very hard to progress your career there. So and at the same time, I love CrossFit, which I was like the only guy teaching CrossFit methodology there at the time, other than one other trainer who, Pam, actually owns CrossFit 626 in San Marino, right? So we're kind of like the only 2 that are there that are into CrossFit, and this is cool. So you'll appreciate this. So I'm doing this, and it's really hard. And my dad is in China, and at the time he didn't really trust anybody in his business, and he reaches out and he says, "Hey, like, would you like to work for me?" And I'm like, "No, not really." But I think there was something deep inside there that I wanted to fix my relationship with my dad. So I go and work for him. I go like basically like I do like front desk as like 20 hours a week. So I do that, and then eventually to the point where like I'm like running his company. I'm running his company for him while he's overseas, but I'm miserable doing it. I hate it, and I'm still like training people out of my garage, like at night, and I'm also training for the CrossFit Games, like trying to do all that at one time. I'm like 23 years old, and so everything I'm like, and then this is like my first year of marriage, so I'm married too, and so it all comes to the scene where like I remember literally a decade ago, my wife says, I come home, it's a Friday night, and the movie Zero Dark 30 was playing at AMC. It was like premiering, and I'm like into CrossFit, I'm like into Navy SEALs and stuff like that, so I kind of want to watch the movie, and my wife's like, hey, like I'm tired, and she at the time she was commuting to Sherman Oaks. She was like, we both graduated college in the middle of the recession, like 2008. Right, so it's like, dude, you're not getting a job. Like, so she was driving out to Sherman Oaks from the San Gabriel Valley for like $25,000 a year as a teacher, and she's gone like 6 to 6. I'm working all day, so we're tired. We're newlyweds, and she's like, hey, you know what? Can we just like get pizza and call it a night? And I just start crying, and I start crying like in our bedroom, and I look at her, and I'm like, I hate my life. I hate my life. And I'm like sobbing, and she's like, well, that's a really good movie, huh? Like, you really want to watch that movie, huh? and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I think, I don't know. I want to watch the movie, but I just want to escape reality. Like, I just want to do my life. I just want to watch some Navy SEALs get Bin Laden for like 2 hours while eating popcorn and getting diabetes, drinking some Slurpees, okay? Like, I just want to like escape. And my wife looks at me and she's like, you know that CrossFit gym? Like you said that someday you want to do a CrossFit gym? I think you should do it now. Like, I'm a child. I'm like a kid. Like she says, yeah, like I think people would want you to like, I think you could do it. And I'm like crying, and I'm like, what? I'm like look, in my tears, I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, I think you could do it. I think you do it. And it's crazy because it was really her belief. Like, I was already coaching, but like, dude, like I didn't want to run a business, I'm like, I'm literally a child. Like I don't want, like, you know, and so we make like a 6-month plan for me to like figure out how to launch it. And literally like 6 months later, I opened a gym.
Oh,
Yeah, off of First Avenue in Arcadia.
awesome.
And someone was nice enough to, I don't know why she let me sign a lease. I had no money. It was crazy. Like just, yeah. So rest is history, yeah. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations on that.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. You know, I feel like I can talk story with you for forever and just, you know, dive deep into the stories of your life. Just because of time that we do have to move on. So Eric, we're going to talk about a little bit lighter subject here, you know. So we'll get to know you and the things that you like in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yep.
Eric, we talked a little bit, maybe it was before the show, about San Gabriel Valley 3. 3 things, 3 places, and I know you've got a lot of ideas and thoughts about this, but have you been able to narrow it to 3?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. What's a good place you like to go, a good restaurant you like to eat at, meaningful places? And I think actually I've been anxious to hear what you have to say, because you said one place you have thought of is no longer in existence.
I'll start with that one.
Yeah.
So do you guys know where like Camellia Squares in Temple City?
Yeah, right.
Off
That's
Rosemead and Las
Rosemead
Tunas.
and Las Tunas. Which,
Okay.
So
I do, yes.
So to me, that's Edwards Cinema.
Oh, yes.
That's Edwards Cinema.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of memories growing up there. Just, you know, going back to like good memories with my that was a place that was good memories even before my parents got divorced, during their tough years and after, because it was a place that we could go to and nobody had to talk. Nobody had to talk. So for me, actually, that place holds a lot of significance, because even it was like a place of refuge for my family, even, and even a place of refuge for, I think, even my parents. And I don't know that they even realized that, because it was a place that like they could take us and like nobody had to talk about anything. You just sit there and you just watch a movie, like everything's kind of okay. Oh, that's crazy that ties into my whole Zero Dark 30 from earlier. But just this idea to like get away, and be safe. That has been remodeled now into Camellia Square. So like, there's some pretty awesome restaurants in there that I like.
Well, before you move on, we used to go there after church on Sundays. Like,
oh, you did?
You know, yeah, and we would watch movies there. And, you know, just thinking of the similarities. There used to be a barber shop.
The $3 Tuesdays?
I don't.
It was $3, man.
But there used to be a barber shop connected to the theater.
Yeah, there was.
Right, on the left. And I always remember going to that theater because when you walked out, you couldn't see anything. Because it was so dark in there, and then it was right out to the sun, and it was But
is that on the northeast corner?
That's right.
Okay, where that big new development, or
there's
been there for years, but
teapot or something there.
There's like a teapot.
Yes,
like with water coming out of it. Yeah. So that's a pretty cool spot now. There's a bunch of great restaurants in there. Yeah, that like when I do eat out, I'll probably frequent at least one of the 4 restaurants there. Yeah.
Great. What's another event?
You know what? Another place that's pretty significant to me is probably like Arcadia High School. I went to Arcadia, first of all, and it's very different. Like I feel like every 3 to 5 years it changes a lot. Like they remodel, or there's just like a lot of money going into that school. But long story short, I attended Arcadia High School. I proposed at Arcadia High School. Oh yeah. My wife and I used to, when I was training for CrossFit, I used to run twice a week. So she used to go running with me. And the day that we got engaged, actually her car got stolen from her house. But like we still went running because I was training. And that day I proposed, like we went for a run, and I was like, hey, I need to tie my shoes. And so I pulled the ring out of my sock. Wow. So that's significant for us because we got engaged there. And then I was also the head strength and conditioning coach for Arcadia High School. So I was for football and for baseball for 4 years. So I think just Arcadia High School holds like this significance to me. You know,
right?
Just like it's kind of like this timeless thing that's has been there and still is there. Yeah.
And how about number 3?
Number 3, it's funny. I actually told him I would shout him out tomorrow. I was like, hey, I'm being on a podcast, I'm gonna shout you out, dude. But I just got a haircut yesterday, and This is a place that I really enjoy going to. I'm there almost every 10 days. And as a coach, I don't, as you can tell, like I've literally been wearing this is me dressed up. I'm dressed up right now.
Okay.
So it's like Lululemon, a shirt from the gym, and just like shoes, usually this or like sandals. And I wear this, I've worn this it's like the best work outfit.
Yeah.
It's very comfortable. I'm the most comfortable person in the room right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, right.
I'm sorry if you guys disagree. But
No,
I'm very comfortable.
That's how I am 90% of the time.
And but yeah, so like one of the things that I do to try to like be presentable though is always have good hair. As a trainer, like I feel like my way of dressing up and looking nice for my clients and feeling good is to get a haircut. So I've been getting taken care of by Casey's Barbershop in Monrovia for quite a few years. He does a really good job. The reason why I love Casey is it's no BS. He cuts 3 haircuts on the hour, 20-minute haircuts.
Oh, really? Wow.
And what I like is he does appointments. First of all, like if you don't do appointments, I'm not getting a haircut at your place because I'm busy. Like
you don't want to go sit.
Yeah, I don't have time to sit. And the fact that he can do a great job in 20 minutes, and it's funny because I know a lot of people like I've debated this among my staff at the gym because like there's one of my staff, he's very pretty, very handsome man, and he's bothered that the haircut takes like it's so quick.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's like, yeah, well they should take their time. Like he's used to 1 hour haircuts, and I'm like, but dude, he's literally gifting you 40 minutes back.
Yeah,
like he's giving you time. And like time is so valuable. Like what? Like if you could do the same job, why are you upset? So that's what I love about Casey.
So is this one of these old school barbershops?
Old school barbershop.
You got the
cash only. He's still cash only.
What do you call that revolving thing in the front? It's a barbershop.
Yep. It's your old school barbershop. It's got a rustic energy inside.
Yeah.
4 chairs, maybe 5 chairs. Casey's the owner. He does not give an F. He does not care. He's nice, but he's also like he could be kind of mean. but he's got a full book. He does like 24 haircuts a day.
Yeah, he's got to keep moving.
Oh, he keeps moving. He's all business and he does a great job. And
so, what does a haircut cost these days?
I pay $30 for my haircut.
Okay.
So I spend almost $100 a month. I even offered him, I was like, hey, if you come cut my hair at the gym, like in between my calls,
it, right?
like what do you want? He's like, dude, I don't need to cut your hair at the gym. Like I'm killing it. So so he's a fun guy.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I've been trying to think of the joke to tie in, Scott's haircut.
Yeah. Well,
how did you get your haircut?
Yeah. You don't want to go to my barber. Well, there's no joke there. It's just
well, you save a lot of money.
Yeah, it's very convenient. It's not the money. It's like just the overall hassle of dealing with washing your hair and combing your hair and all of that. Yeah, I don't have to.
Should I shave my head?
Well, you know what? There's a lot of benefit to it, but I never wanted to have a shaved head, but I had no choice. I didn't have hair. See? So it was, but when I was younger, I looked the same way. I had no hair. When I was 21, I had no hair.
Really?
Yeah. I just had no hair. My hair fell out, and that was the end of it when I was 21.
Wow.
Well, Scott has alopecia.
Yeah, it's a condition.
It does. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, so it doesn't grow at all.
There's a little bit that'll grow here or there, but
you just like shave it.
I just shave it. Yeah, once a week. I can shave it. And it's done. Yeah.
You know who Dom Toretto, Fast and Furious. You seen Fast and Furious?
No. I don't keep up with popular culture. I'm set in like the 1920s, permanently. So
wow.
I drive a car that is from the 1920s.
Oh, amazing.
No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking. But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm fortunate I'm not in front of the camera, but I only cut my hair once a year. No, maybe twice a year, I think.
Yeah, but you grow your hair.
Yeah.
But intentionally, because this is an easy hairstyle for me too, Yeah. And I have really curly hair, so trying to keep it short has been really a challenge for me. And now I'm in a season in my life where I appreciate and love like my hair. So, but for the listening audience, they can't see you, and you've got great hair. You've got thick hair, long on top, but you've also got this like really, I don't know how to describe it. Is it a goatee?
I mean, I usually grow this part too, but I just recently trimmed it because my food's getting caught in it.
Okay.
So usually I have like a full mustache beard type thing, but I don't know what it is, but I've had it for a decade almost.
A decade.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long does it take to get to this length?
I would say this is trimmed. This is like short. Usually I could hit like my chest. So like,
Wow.
yeah, usually a little bit longer.
Okay.
But I'm growing a lot of white hair, as you can tell, from the stress of having 3 children and whatever else gives me stress. And I'm just noticing that it's less full feeling.
You need to start doing fewer podcasts.
Actually, on a podcast are actually really life giving for me.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
When you get on the right ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we move on, I just want to know, for my own curiosity, what are your numbers in the big 3? Bench, deadlift,
the big 3. You know what? All time.
Yeah. What's your PR on those?
They're not very impressive because I haven't focused heavily on them. My all time bench is 315.
Okay.
So my all time bench is 315. Sorry, it's because in CrossFit terms, like we don't. Like, I think about snatch and clean and jerk.
Oh, okay.
So you're thinking bench, deadlift.
Well, let's hear your what are those numbers?
All time snatch is 205. All time clean and jerk is 280. So not super heavy, but bench is three plates. Deadlift all time is like mid 4s, and then my all time back squat's 420.
Wow. So, I mean, those are very impressive to me.
Yeah, I can't. I'm nowhere near those now. I'm quite broken. So
I read the statistic. It said less than 10% of the entire population of the world can bench 300 plus.
Really?
Yes.
Just to give you, I mean, you can't see it. I mean, I don't think you see it, but like I have really short, stubby joints. Like I actually used to say this in practice, and my coaches used to yell at me. So like, I don't like playing defense. And it's because I have to work a lot hard, like in basketball, I have to work a lot harder than everybody else because my wingspan is short.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm 5'8", but I have a 5'6" wingspan. So I don't play good D because I'm not going to be very effective.
I'm the opposite.
You have big wingspan?
Yeah. I'm 5'10", 5'10" and a half, and my wingspan is 6'3".
Oh, dude, that's huge. Wow. That's great. Yeah. Can you palm?
Oh, yeah, pretty easily.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Wow.
All day. So you're...
But it's deceptive, right? Because like I can gauge how tall you are, where I think you can get a shot off.
Yeah.
And so I think that's helped me.
Yeah, I bet you're a great defender. Yeah.
I wouldn't say great. I think like anticipating shots is, you need that and some luck.
Yeah.
But when I play against Scott, it's easier because he doesn't get off the ground very high anymore.
White man can't jump.
Hey, they're redoing that movie, by the way.
Oh, yes. And I want to see that.
And who's going to star in it?
Yeah. But yeah, bench is not, it's one of the, like, so to give you context, I don't train my bench like at all. I do not bench press. I bench press maybe in the last 10 years, I could say very confidently less than 50 times. And I probably I probably have to fight for it, but I could probably hit 300 right now. And I don't bench. Yeah. So it's just like, I think it's anatomical too.
Yeah.
It's like if I have a minimal level of strength to obtain it, as long as I have the levers for it, I don't have to like earn it. So
sure.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing, your story with us. Yeah. And hopefully, people in your life can hear the story about you and to read your book. If people want to check out your gym, if they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, probably Instagram. So our gym is at Reason Fit. We're a small local gym, micro gym in Arcadia. And then my Instagram is Coach Eric Freedom.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, there you go. There's another story from right here in the SGV. That was a pretty powerful story, and it really opened my eyes to just the different experiences that people have and how their life ends up and the journeys that they take. I hope you enjoyed that. We enjoyed you spending this time with us. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find the full back catalog of episodes on our website, sgvmasterkey.com. And until next week, we'll see you then.
You've been listening to the SGV Master Key Podcast. Our passion is the small businesses and the people that make up the San Gabriel Valley, and it's our honor to have them on the show. We hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure to like, rate, and review. The show is produced by Russell Mano. Edited by Victoria Allers of Kind Monster Productions. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on the SGV Master Key Podcast.
Master, no, kind of master.